Hello and welcome to a RuneScape themed guided meditation for relaxation. RuneScape is a massive multiplayer online game. The point of this meditation is to imagine as if you are pretending to be in the game on a relaxing walk. You meet with some old NPC friends and gracefully soar above Gielinor in a gnome glider. After a relaxing day of exploring with the fairy ring system, you eventually go to sleep in your player-owned house. Please get comfortable and take a slow, refreshing, deep breath in and out. Remember, the first day you saw the login screen, the fire flickering, the words RuneScape before you. In one last big deep breath in, you may close your eyes if you want to, or you may not, but in your mind's eye, you open your eyes and see the fountains of Lumbridge Castle. You sit at the last step just between the shrubberies. You look over and see Hans patrolling. You realize he is walking towards you. He calmly says, "Hello, what are you doing here?" You respond by saying, "I'm just about to go on a relaxing stroll across the countryside." He smiles a reassuring smile. The weather's great today for that. Although the weather never really changes. What would it be like if it rained? Or what is it like when it rains? Hans laughs to himself. You nod a friendly nod, begin to stand up, raising your arms upward in a healthy stretch. You are ready to begin your adventure. You take your first step forward and walk north to the Lumbridge Bridge, an iconic bridge that we all remember and love. You find yourself listening to the sound of your shoes against the cobblestone pathway. As you cross the bridge, you also cross the bridge into relaxation. Going further across the bridge, until up ahead of you, you see the gates of Alcarid. You continue walking north. You smell roasting meat by the goblins as they prepare a feast inside their little abandoned shack. You breathe in the aroma and move past. The cows to the east happily chew their grass. With closer inspection, you spot a happy, cute little cow calf gently rubbing his head against his mother. Smiling, you walk further north. To the west, the chickens buck as they gather their chicks into a nest. The mother hen wraps her wings around her chicks, and they nuzzle together to relax and rest for a while. Picking up the pace slightly, you briskly walk northeast past the potato farm to the crossroads. You read the signpost. To the north, sheep lay this way. The idea of counting sheep interests you. West, the Champions Guild and Varrock South Gate. You decide you want to continue walking west of Varrock. Moving west, you pass another farm and a few trees. Up ahead is the stone circle, surrounded by dark wizards. You suppose you should say a prayer to protect yourself from magic. Whispering to the god of your choice, you feel stronger. With this new profound strength and calm, you walk past. You keep your distance and make it through, past the guards, into Varrock. To your east is the Blue Moon Inn. You take in a deep breath and let out a heavy sigh with a smile. Although you're very relaxed, you decide not to rest at the inn for now and move forward heading north. You hear the trickling water before you see it. The Varrock Square Fountain, a grand fountain indeed. "Buy your Varrock Herald now," Benny the newspaper salesman advertises. The hustle and bustle of the busy Varrock city is almost hypnotic. Many adventurers returning to the Grand Exchange with their wares and treasures pass by you, but you are in no rush. You peacefully walk to the west, leaving the fountain behind you. You can't hear the water anymore. Passing the west bank, you continue further down the path. You walk by Gertrude's house. "Good evening, dearie," Gertrude smiles. You wave back quietly, but give a friendly nod and carry on walking. Eventually you meet the small wooden bridge leading to the entrance of the barbarian village. You see the shiny scales of fish swimming underneath you, through the holes in the wooden planks. After one last creaky step, you're in the village. The barbarians recognize you and lower their hatchets and spears to let you walk past. The village isn't very large, and just within the same amount of time it took to cross the bridge, you now have left the barbarian village and journey towards Falador. Green, hardy evergreens hug the path as you walk. You pass a silly dwarf, the usual short, angry guy. He is in a good mood today. The drunken dwarf hobbles and stumbles towards you. He's had a fair bit to drink. "On it, wee matey. Here, have some of my good stuff." He hands you a wrapped spicy kebab and an ice-cold fresh pint of beer. You hold back laughter and just thank the kind dwarf. And you continue further west. Southwest, you descend the stairs and walk up to a stone signpost. South to Falador, west to Taverley, east to Varrock. You take a moment. What would it be like if I went to Falador, you ask yourself. You suppose instead that you'll journey to Taverley and move northwest, up to the wrought iron gates. Every one of us celebrated when we first made our way through this entry to the Great West. Being the gap between the free-to-play terrain and the members-only skills, quests, and locations, you still feel a bit of excitement walking through. You wrap your fingers around the bars and let yourself through. You're in the membership-only part of the world now. Such a beautiful sight to see. You decide to go further west. Passing by the druids, their calm, collected energy rubs off onto you. It feels good to feel relaxed. Just imagine the flowers and herbs grown by these druids. Using their pestle and mortars, the air is filled with plant oils that you can smell. The fresh floral scent of the plumes pass by you, with perfume and spice-scented air that refreshes your whole body. You walk southwest and see 2 fountains. Everybody needs a water feature. I wonder what these are. You ponder the blue flowers surrounding the fountain. The house on the west has sunflowers in front of their window. Don't these flowers make you feel better? It's easy to be aware of the gentle energy from Taverley that makes you feel at peace. Honey, a bit of an earthy smell, and steam rising. You spot in the southern distance a cup of tea at a park bench. Sitting down on the stool, you rest your elbow, lean forward, and sip at a tea. Nothing like a nice cup of tea, you say out loud. Although the owner of the beverage is unknown, sooner or later it would have been cold, so you had to. And hey, it was rather satisfying to say that out loud and drink it. To the northwestern path, you decide to carry on. You sit up and stretch your legs and knees, wiggle your toes, tense and release your muscles, and relax. Up ahead are beautiful white wolves. They have snow-frosted fur that glistens like reflective illumination on a bar of silver. Your first step into snow makes a gratifying crunch against your boots, leaving a trail of footsteps behind you. You journey on forward. The dead trees would only be used for firewood now, and a nice warm fireplace does sound enjoyable, yet the cold does not bother you. It is crisp and fresh on your face. As it cools down, the further up White Mountain you go. You spin around the mountain path and up to the top, the gnome glider awaits you. You decide you want to go to the gnome tree stronghold. It's always fun to fly gnome air. You ask the gnome, "Can you take me on the glider?" The captain cheerfully chimes, "Of course." You strap in the belts around your arms, breathe in the last brisk cool breath before taking off. You breathe out as you sail upwards into the sky. The air warms up as you soar further west. You look over Catherby, seeing farmers harvesting their allotments, and many people fishing in this quaint little seaside town. Harpoons, lobster cages, big nets, small nets. The people of Catherby make their money by fishing. The water bubbles with activity in the spots which are trawled by townsfolk. Swishing to the further west, you see the Camelot Castle courtyard. A cauldron bubbles green. Looking down, you see Merlin, a powerful wizard of the Knights of the Round Table. The wizard is up upon the top of the castle's tower. Merlin stops. He puts his left hand on his blue pointy hat, holding it, and gazes up towards you. He waves at you, then goes back to working, adding ingredients to the cauldron. Flying on by, you catch a glimpse of more blue flowers. These smell nice. And a yellow flower bed. These are pretty. A few tall yellow flowers, a rarely found flower, and fountains add to the garden. The grand residing place of the chalice, the Holy Grail, is elegant and cleanly well kept. The further west you go, soaring like an eagle, floating with complete trust in his wings, you glide over to the Seer's village. A small community of wise individuals who would do with a shave. You find yourself picking up speed, past the maple trees and bank, past the pub, and further west is a fenced-in area, privately owned land, McGruber's Woods. There are many beautiful oak trees in this area, tulips that, despite having lips in the name, do not talk to you. A bush of dwellberries, which are rather pretty blue, colored berries, and they're quite tasty. In the middle is a fairy ring. Better not eat them. And straight west of the ring is a strange red vine that protrudes from the ground. The scene is very nice, but before you know it, you find yourself gliding further and further to the gnome tree stronghold. Passing the coal mine, you see the aqua-blue Backstorian Falls. The water rushes past rocks until reaching the waterfall. Mist in the air, the waterfall falls down into the river. The river glistens as it connects the water through the kingdom to the very southern sea. To the north of the waterfall is a crazy-looking whirlpool, the water turning in a circular hypnotic spiral. Before you know it, you're directly west, in the distance, a stronghold. The entire land is full of massive, spectacular trees. The gnomes use their exquisite construction abilities to build their buildings into the trees, rather than made of trees. In tune with nature, you land atop the main Grand Tree building. You thank the gnome captain for letting you use the glider network and climb down the ladder directly south. You go down 2 floors. You decide to go to the Blurberry Bar and speak with the barman. "Good day to you. What can I get you to drink?" he warmly asks. Tight within his grip is a rag as he shines a freshly cleaned glass and sets it on the bar table. "What do you have?" you respond. "Here, take a look at our menu." Overlooking the list of drinks, you imagine what each one would be like. Although they are all delicious cocktails, you remember the kebab and the pint of beer that the drunken dwarf gave you. After a long decision, you decide on a non-alcoholic drink. You imagine the pineapple punch, or what it would be like if you had the fruit cocktail. You may want to try both. Eventually, you decide which is your favorite cocktail, and pay the barman 30 coins per drink. To the west is a little cafe. The napkins are made of pure silk, and at each small table is a gnome chair. It's a cute chair. A gnome couple enjoys a romantic dinner to celebrate the anniversary of their marriage. You walk over with your drinks and kebab to a table and sit down. It's better to eat before drinking, so you begin savoring the kebab. The flatbread is slightly toasted and still warm. The meat is well seasoned with cumin and garlic. There's a slight kick of chili to it. The crunchy lettuce and perfectly ripened tomatoes are fresh and delicious. Feeling rather thirsty, you take a few sips of your beer. The hops complement the earthy taste of the kebab, a perfect match. After taking your last bite, you think, wow, that was an amazing kebab, and you feel really invigorated. The beer is still cold, and the bubbles tickle your tongue. After a while of eating and drinking, you dab the sides of your mouth with a soft napkin. You decide to take the cocktail with you to have later. You get up and walk east to the ladder and go to the ground floor. The Gnome King looks up and is pleased to see you. His Grace says, "Good of you to stop by, human." "How fares the kingdom today?" you ask. "All is well in the gnome stronghold. Today is a day to relax, and everything is as it should be." You exit through the grand door, casually strolling south to the stronghold. You walk up to the enchanting spirit tree. This tree is deeply rooted into the ground, and their roots travel through all of Gielinor. Filled with magic, the energy connecting the whole RuneScape universe. You walk up to the enchanting spirit tree. This tree is deeply rooted into the ground, and their roots travel through all of Gielinor. The spirit tree has a face, and moves his branches towards you. His little leaves and vines make for a mustache. You can feel the ancient sentient tree wishing to speak with you. He smiles and says, "Would you like me to take you somewhere? You can travel to the trees which are related to me." You place your hands on the dry, tough bark of the spirit tree and feel a sudden surge of energy run through your veins. You have arrived back in Varrock, just north to the Grand Exchange. Feeling deeply connected to nature and grounded, you take a deep breath of fresh air and thank the spirit tree. You decide you want to visit the lost city of Xanaris to admire the beauty of the fairy kingdom. Walking northwest, you reach a small underground tunnel connecting the Grand Exchange with Edgeville. Using your expertise and agility, you climb through the tunnel and pop out on the other side. Just a few steps south and you reach the fairy ring. It's 3 rings within each other of red, blue, and green mushrooms with small caps. The magical mushrooms allow you to teleport to Xanaris. You step into the rings and a reddish magenta aura glows and surrounds you, swirling around you. There are little rosy red, violet blue, cherry blossom pink, frosty white, royal purple, and pastel orange petals all around you. Your vision is clouded by beautiful sparkling fairy magic and the flowers, and suddenly blue. A beautiful cyan blue. You are in the magnificent fairy kingdom of Xanaris, and the first thing you notice is the beautiful blue grass. The land is illuminated by glowing mushroom torches. Sunflowers are to the east, and further east is a wheat field. It gently sways from swirling wind given off by a crop circle. The crop circle is not made by aliens, rather mischievous imps, separate from the fairies. Slightly to the north is a water mill for wheat, yet instead of water, they have a dairy cow in a wheel walking and grinding the wheat. The cow enjoys it. She likes the exercise. In Xanaris, the cows and sheep can speak English. A local sheep is reciting poetry. You walk up to this sheep. "Hello, I've just finished composing my latest poem. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes, please," you eagerly respond. "How goes it, blade of grass? I'm glad you're not any thinner. You should invite your friends around so I can have my dinner." You're not sure what to think, But this for a sheep is like Shakespearean poetry. You give a reassuring smile to the sheep, despite being a bit confused. After listening to more poetry, you find an excuse to leave and walk back to the fairy ring. You use the advanced fairy magic and program your next teleportation location to BKQ. You are now in the Enchanted Valley. Just a few steps south is a beautiful waterfall overhead from some rocks. The water covers the entrance further into the valley. You see the mist first. As you walk towards the waterfall, you can see through it to the other side. The falls pour clean water, plummeting into the pale crystal cyan lake. Walking under the waterfall, you do not get wet, as there is a small part of water to the west. Making your way into the ancient, enchanted valley, the surroundings are covered with an impenetrable wall of ancient pine trees. The only way into this small oasis is through the fairy ring magical teleportation system. You meet a young stag, 2 centaurs, and a fluffy, adorable white rabbit. You see a wood dryad nymph, which all allow you to be in their tranquil, hidden sanctuary. They are curious about their human visitor, but you are welcomed wholeheartedly. The sharp scent of pine fills the air. You walk towards the water's edge. Picking up a stone, you gracefully skip it across the water, making a frog jump off of a lily pad and into the deep blue water. A butterfly lands on you, and you stand extra still so as not to disturb it. Eventually, the butterfly flies away, yet you feel blessed knowing you may have been mistaken for a flower. Feeling at ease, you make your way back to the northern fairy ring and return to Zonorus. You now decide to teleport to CKP, the cosmic entity plane of existence. With your arrival on the cosmic plane, you are greeted by a floating cosmic being. Hello there. You greet the partially see-through, light bluish-gray native. Salutations, traveler. It is unusual for one of the creatures called humans to visit this plane. How can I assist you? I'm just looking around, thanks. I hope the beauty of my world brings you great joy. To be is to be, the value of a variable. They bow and invite you to look around. And what a sight it is! The ground beneath you is a pale yellow sand, but deep within the sand are layers of vibrant green, blue, and purple the further south you go. The whole area is floating in space, surrounded by an ebony black horizon. The darkness only makes the colors of the space brighter in contrast. All around you are bubbles, although appearing soap-like. They are made of pure energy. Some are transparent, while others are psychedelic spheres, with a glassy aura of rainbows around them. Huge cattail plants grow. The tips of the plant are bright pink. For the most interesting and rare plant, a blossom grows from a small green sapling. Within short order, it begins to grow larger, until it is as tall as you are. The vegetation fluorescence begins to flower into a golden star shape. The star flower only exists for just a few moments before it withers down. Full of magical energy, the flower is very coveted. To obtain one, you must be quick. The air is otherworldly. Your breath feels lighter than air, more revitalizing and rejuvenating. After a while of breathing in and out, you decide to take one last trip with the fairy magic. You set the fairy ring code to DIS, the wizard's tower. Arriving at the teleportation location behind the tower, you start walking around the building to the entrance. You're in no big hurry. While walking, you admire each grayish-blue brick making up the 3-story tower. The wizards are busy studying the craft of magic and magical knowledge. Deciding not to disturb them, you walk on by and begin to cross the bridge. Although arguably one of the largest bridges, no rush is needed, just slowly walking down the gray bridge. Eventually you make it back to the land and begin walking north. To the west of the path, graceful willow trees sway. You walk past the Draenor bank, continuing north to the crossroads. A wooden signpost says, north to Draenor Manor, east to Lumbridge, south to Draenor and the Wizard's Tower, west to Port Sarim, Falador, and Rimington. After a long journey, you decide to head west to Rimington to your own home. Headed west and leaving the vicinity of Draenor, you pass the southern Falador farm with a huge cabbage field. A farmer plows the dirt, harvesting and replanting as he goes. You continue on, passing an earth wizard, fire wizard, air wizard, and a water wizard, all practicing their magic. Going south, following the path, slowly coming up to the entrance of Rimington. You pass the onion cabbage field and mining site, spying the purple portal to home. The portal is surrounded by gray carved stone with a hole in the middle. Inside the circle is a pulsating dark purple see-through portal. You walk up and step on through it. You have now arrived at your house, the one you built from scratch with your bare hands, a place where you feel comfort, warmth, and safety. While walking through your garden, you see daffodils, roses, and sunflowers, all enclosed in a fence, just like in the Varrock Palace. There is a wooden gazebo and an elegant sculpture of flowing water in the middle. You open a heavy door of dark wood and step onto the rug in the bedroom. You preen yourself at the dresser until your hair is brushed thoroughly. Smiling in the mirror, you yawn. In the other side of the room is a fireplace. You use a spare tinderbox on some wood, illuminating the room in an orange fiery glow. Pulling out the fruity drink you saved, you sip it while looking at the bright, glorious flames. Your thirst quenched and ready for bed. It is time to rest now, after such an adventure. You crawl into bed and pull the soft linen sheets over your chest and rest your head into the pillow. It has been a long day, adventurer. You are soothed by the warmth and comfort of the fire and soft mattress. You close your eyes and fade into a sweet, relaxing, deep sleep. You can wake up simply by willing it, or fall into deep, restful, rejuvenating sleep. The choice is yours. Thank you.